Do you hear that, everyone? Spring is right around the corner, and that means one thing and one thing only. We have got to improve our neighborhood parks. You're thinking it. We're thinking it. It's time to address it. Comedian Negin Farsad is on the pod, and we are going to dig into it. And you're going to want to buckle up. This one is high octane.
We're getting big, our worries are nixed. Let's have some cake while the frolic sings. We're getting big, our worries are nixed. Let's have some cake while the frolic sings. We're getting big, our worries are nixed. Let's have some cake while the frolic sings.
When you look back over the beach of your life and you notice the footprints in the sand, you'll see that in times of hardship and trouble, there's three distinct sets of footprints running away from you. And those were our footprints, because we can't go back to prison. We turn state's evidence to get out of there, and they'll eat us alive if we come back in. This is the Grolic Saves the World. My name's Adam Caton Holland.
My name is Ben Roy.
And I'm Andrew Orvidal.
And this is a podcast about bettering your world. And I think us leaving you as a friend on the beach that day definitely bettered everyone's world. We all went our separate ways and no one's really looked back. Don't you think, guys?
Yeah. I mean, I told you guys from the get-go, I'm down for blue-collar crime, but white-collar crime, if it's insider trading, I don't care what it is, I'm out. You know what I mean? And I'm with
the important
good guys.
thing is we're on the outside of prison now. And to all our friends still in there listening, we're sorry. We're sorry for what we did.
And they are listening because this was a minimum security prison. We were never going to do time in a hard kind of place. It's just not in our personality.
Do not have the fortitude. Guys, I have to get to our guest. We have a guest today, and I'm so excited. Our next guest is a host of their own podcast, Fake the Nation. Guest host of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me occasionally is going to be featured on an upcoming Hillary and Chelsea Clinton show called Gutsy. Please give a nice Grolics Saves the World welcome to Negin Farsad, everybody.
Yay!
Hey! Oh my
Negin,
gosh!
how are
Thank you for being here.
I'll just start the podcast off with just a correction about your hosting skills, which is that
Sure.
that Gutsy show is already out. Yay!
Oh, that's what
And
I
they
meant.
could see-
That's what I meant.
Yes,
I'm
totally.
drunk.
Yes, and I could tell. I could smell it on your breath over Zoom. But that's
Sure.
what happened. Yeah.
Well, that brings me to my next point, even more succinctly, which is why are you on this podcast? What are you doing? Like, you've got a lot of cool shit going on, and you're like, I'll slum it a little bit on the Grolics. What's your motivation here?
If we're 500% honest, I don't even remember how this came about. Like, why are we all together? I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I'm taking it as a sign from the universe that it was meant to happen. There's like a thing you guys are going to bring to my world. But first of all, I'm your newest fan. I've recently subscribed to the pod. I started really getting into it. My God, love the show.
Yeah, we know, because whenever anyone subscribes, it dings pretty loudly in the middle of the night on all of our phones. So we all sat up in our bed and we got a new one, and we called each other.
Yes.
We were pretty pumped about it.
Like it's like the scene in Ghostbusters where the ghost comes in. We got one, and then the slam on the buzzer. That's how we do it, Andrew.
I was
Andrew
picturing
does
more like it's like what was that jug of fruit punch in the 80s that would slam through a wall and
Kool-Aid.
Oh, Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's a good one. But
That's
I was
what I kind of assumed happened when you got your messages.
more of a Sunny D. I like microplastics in my orange juice.
Yeah, the
Oh.
Grolics Kool-Aid guy is a really aggro Sunny D who just bursts through the walls. spilling
He
orange
actually
liquid everywhere.
elbows out your window, and then he climbs into the window. He's not
And then when he's
powerful
gone,
enough to go through the wall.
Things are missing. Things are missing from the house when he leaves.
Sonny!
Oh, because he's also a kleptomaniac.
Yeah. Sonny took
I
my
guess
cell
Sonny
phone.
got out of juvie.
It's a
Sunny
giant picture
D.
of Long Island iced tea. That's what it's like,
Nice.
just trashy. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we were talking before the pod. Not only do you not know how you got to be on this podcast, well, none of us know each other. So this is just wild. This is
Totally.
like, it's a real opportunity for, I think, a potential best friendship to be recorded.
Agreed.
Like, how often the first hang you had with your lifetime best friend, if you could listen to that again and again and again, you'd be so delighted. And I feel like that opportunity is right in front of us here today.
Oh,
and
it
that
is.
excites
It
me.
really reminds me of joining honors English my freshman year of high school, where the girl that sat behind me, Anka Kellerman, shout out, my best friend, and she would like she tapped me on the shoulder and she said something, and I don't remember what it was because it wasn't a podcast. And that's really, really, and that was really our fault, you know?
Well, and that's why that relationship is dog shit compared to what we're about to have. And so,
Agreed.
It never was going to reach the levels of closeness, and I
No.
think of an emotional intimacy that we're going to find today here.
/ content / algorithm. And that's what's very
and
important.
but that, Adam, I think that goes without saying. I think somebody is well versed in the podcast sphere knows that it is algorithm first, emotional intimacy second. That's how it goes. nowadays.
Everyone,
That's what I keep telling my wife.
I've heard you on Wait Don't Tell Me, right?
Oh.
And so
You're a public radio nerd.
I love the show.
Yeah.
And so this is really freaking cool that you're doing this. And this is super fun. I want to, can I just humble brag up front? We kind of do this sometimes. We talk about things that we're doing that are positive. And Adam and Andrew know this. Negin, you're new to this. This will come into it. I think it's part of us connecting. I'm mentally unwell, and I've been on a slow, very drawn out uncoiling for over a period of years. Yeah, I've been going down a set of stairs to a basement that never seems to appear. And so
uncoiling.
So what I've been doing though is I've upped my massages. So now, yes, I see my pal Libby gives an amazing massage. And I want to say I've started focusing on the head and the scalp. And y'all, I got to be honest, it's changed my world. I love a good face and scalp massage. I'll take a full half hour of the massage just on my face and my head. You know, I don't know if any of you have done this, but it's been working wonders as far as stress relief. So I'm just throwing that out there because I think it's often neglected.
You just feel like zenned out after one of these massages?
Yeah, you know, I think it's maybe me. I carry a lot of it in my brow. I tend to scowl, and I definitely clench my jaw a lot. And spending a lot of time just even on the scalp, and like I get that like kind of tingly, like you know what I mean? That rush from it. You know, just from somebody like rubbing your hair and really working into your temples and down in here. I'm telling you, when I leave, it's better than if I had just focused on the rest of my, you know what I mean? Like a full body massage. Like I find more stress relief with that. And
I guess I'm glad, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I think it helps
I'm
that you know
to stay
this.
on self-care.
I think
I'm listening.
I think it helps that you know this person, because if I have some stranger masseuse just touching my face a lot, there's nothing relaxing or calming about that to me. I need to know a person who's touching my face a lot.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, because there could be.
I'd prefer I didn't know you. You know,
like you're not nervous about like a Sweeney Todd scenario playing out. You know, you're like in a vulnerable situation. Like she could just snap your neck.
Will say that she is quick with a straight razor. And it's weird because this is not a beautician. This is strictly.
I love an updated Sweeney Todd that just does like holistic healing. A little aromatherapy, a little, the whole.
As a father of two young boys, 5 and 2, who've had pink eye for the past week, so I don't want anyone touching any faces or eyeballs or none of that. Just stay out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody else, somebody that goes and gets regular massages as a self-care thing?
I just want to say, as a children of immigrants, I was taught from an early age to never do anything to make myself feel better. So that's kind of like how I've lived my life. It's really gotten me far in terms of mental wellness. But I will say, I have done something. The comedian Alison Leiby, I don't know if you guys know her.
I know her, yeah.
Okay, so she was on Fake the Nation recently, and she started talking about like a thing she started doing in the new year, which is dunking her face in a bowl of ice water every morning. And I was like, why would you do that? It's apparently good for your skin and your sinuses. And I, not to brag, have always had a couple of sinus issues. And so I thought, let me dunk my face in a bowl of ice water and see what happens. And I've been doing it now. It's been like 12 days of solid face dunking. And you can tell, first of all, that I have a natural glow to my skin, obviously. So that's
yes,
working.
We were just buzzing about it.
Thank you so much.
In the group chat, that's what's working.
We're in the group chat.
That's really what
Yeah.
everyone's going with.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. But also, like, I do feel like my sinuses are some measure like more reasonable than normal.
I'm
on
getting
account of this
deep
face
bass
dunking.
tones coming from you. I'm getting
Thank
from the
you.
middle of your face. I'm getting bass tones, not, and I think you're opened up. I think you're clear. I think we're getting a lot of low end, which is not common. You get this, and
Absolutely.
If I love that. We wanted to do an ice bath challenge, but Andrew wouldn't get into it. We want to do
I'm
like
not
a
doing it.
polar jump into
I'll
a
watch you
frozen
guys
lake
do
challenge.
it.
But
I'll make
Andrew,
you
for some
cocoa
reason-
for when you get out.
Yeah,
if
the
you
full
want.
Some traumatic
body
something that
feels
happened
like
that he won't talk
like
about.
it's torture. Yeah, I'm
Well,
with you,
I've
Andrew.
tried-
That doesn't.
I
seem
tried
fun.
to do it. I couldn't do it. My body was like, I'm not going any further into this. So
I think it's because I'm bro adjacent. That
No,
we've talked about.
You keep fucking this up. Your best bro's named Jason.
No, I keep forgetting. No, but I would say I am bro adjacent, and there is a lot of bros that love, ice baths and dunking in an ice bath, and Joe Rogan loves it. So every dude that takes TRT loves it. But I do think there is a benefit to that, and I want to try this. So you really think like it's felt good to have. I think it's all connected. I think we carry a lot of tension in our face.
Yeah,
And-
because I think what it then does when I get up, my face is like red for a few minutes because the bunch of blood rushes in there to sort shit out. And I think that is, in
That's what the
medical
doctors say.
terms, pretty fucking great.
how long do you submerge it? Just like one
Like
breath?
40
hold?
seconds or something. I just kind of
Whoa.
count to.
All
yeah.
right, I'm into
That's
it. I'm
pretty
gonna do
good.
it after this.
I imagine later some sort of evil spies kidnapping you, trying to interrogate you, putting your face into a pond of ice cold water, and you're just like loving it. It's
I'm like prepped for that
Yeah.
specific scenario.
like,
Absolutely.
this is my
Yeah.
morning routine, and they dunk you in again.
All right, Ben, next time you get your face pummeled by your friend Libby, dunk it in an ice bath afterwards and see how it works.
I'm honest, y'all. I'm gonna do this, and then the next podcast, the next episode, I will report on how this worked for me. I'm gonna
face
try
dunks.
this.
I'll try it. I'll try a face dunk.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see if this is something that works, because I'm telling you that the working on the face, around the chin, I fall asleep so quick. I feel much more relaxed when I spend time. It makes sense. There's a lot of nerves, and I went to that bodies exhibit. Where they and
Years ago, that one?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I did. Oh,
You
God,
just made
was
it sound like it was like Tuesday you went to the body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
go.
It's an
Tuesday,
off-brand
I
one
went,
that's still
"Hey."
operating.
Have you guys seen Cadavers? Now it is not as good as
Abracadabras.
Don't
but-
give Ben any Game of Thrones spoilers. He's still working his way through it. Do not break any news to him.
Do the dragons come out though?
Yes,
Can you
the
just tell me? Okay. All right. But anyway, that's good. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to report back, because I want to do this face dunk.
I also
thing.
just
think
love
it
the
sounds
idea that it's a particular trend, sweeping comedians by the ones. So
You know?
Like it started with Allison, it went to Negin, it's going to Ben. Let's see
Yep.
what
And
one
then
other
next thing you
person
know it,
might get on
every
board.
comic gets on stage red-faced.
Red-faced comics.
Yep.
Just frostbitten.
Comics in the 80s, just Coke and whiskey all night. Comics in 2024, daily morning ice baths. It's out of
Yeah.
Wait, but
control.
can I just really quickly say about comics today is that like
Please.
I'm not like super disappointed, but it's just like there are no like drug addicts or whatever in my cohort. Like I look for them, you know what I mean? And the self-destructive, like the Sam Kinison, whatever, like that whole thing, we just don't have. And I'm not again like it's
Negin,
good,
hang
I
with
guess
us.
technically.
Hang with us. We'll show you a few.
Yeah. I'm going to Bible school right now and nursing
Oh my gosh.
an aggressive benzo habit. So yeah, like we are that. We're a
Oh,
new
I
age
love.
thing.
Oh, so that you guys are the ones I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Because the comedians I hang around, let me tell you, they get good night's sleep. They fucking have green juices in the morning. It's a nightmare. Very,
No,
you're
very
right. I mean,
put together.
This
I
is
was-
the cosmic tap on the shoulder in the classroom of life you've been waiting for from us.
No, you're dead on right. Like I
cosmic
was
tap.
opening for Cameron Esposito, and she added a second show, and instead of doing it late, she did it before. It was at like 4:00, and I was like, "Oh my god, you cracked the code, Cameron!" She's like, "Yeah, the late show's done at 9, and I am done. Peace out." And I was like, "Yeah."
It's so good. That's
It's
so
so
smart.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
so awesome.
Who wants the late show? Nobody.
We have to get to the issue at hand on the Grolic Saves the World. Now, even though none of us know why or how you're here, we're delighted that you're here, Negin. And it's probably because you have heard that this is the podcast that saves the world. We've done over 100 episodes of trying to better the world around us. And so that makes you an expert. Not a lot of people know that. If you just bullshit on a podcast for 100 episodes
Yes.
about the vague concept of world improvement, boom, you're Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, but I believe Malcolm Gladwell
So-
said something about 10,000 podcasts makes you
That's right.
an expert. Yeah.
That's right.
That's the
That's
new
exactly
book,
right.
10,000 Podcasts. That'd be so good. Yeah.
And he didn't specify
Okay.
which podcast, which has been very unfortunate because a lot of them are not making anyone experts on anything. But this one is genuinely trying to put some good out into the world at the end of the day. So what is it that you want to talk about? What'd you bring to the pod for us?
So I want to talk today about my relationship with Tompkins Square Park, which is a park in the East Village of New York City where I live. And I have been trying to, along with other, fine citizens, support this park. And also like what you guys don't know about me because we're such new best friends,
Right.
is that my background is actually like in public policy. And, I was, part of the reason, this is not the reason I was on that Hillary Clinton show, but part of the reason I had ever met her before is because I interned for her. And I was a policy advisor for the city of New York. I went to grad school for public policy, all that stuff. And so I always was really interested in public service in general. And then, while I had that job, which was really a serious job with like pantsuits, my friends staged an intervention and they were like, "You want to be a comedian? Like, what are you doing?" Because I was doing comedy the entire time. I was doing it through grad school. I was doing it at this job, and it was true that I did, but I also still wanted to somehow be involved in public service. So then I feel like my entire life since going full time into comedy has been, how can I be in this like extremely narcissistic profession while still trying to do something that's like, good, kind of doing good for the world or whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's my little backstory. And so now I'm just, me and a handful of other people, during the pandemic, the pandemic was tough everywhere, right? And in New York City, like parks really got it. They were just constantly being used by we could bring cocktails. It just was the party. Like the park was a party, and which was great and like helped everyone survive, socially. But it also meant that like it killed a lot of plants. And, you know what I mean?
Every
like,
good
just,
party, you're going to lose a few plants.
Yeah. Everyone says, like, as my mom always said. And so and it also like, it's just like, it's funny because you also don't think in the urban setting, like how many garbage cans does a place need? So that there aren't, so that garbage doesn't overflow, like how many benches and, there's, cracks on these benches. Like some of these are unusable. There's like potholes within the park that make it tough for people with strollers and wheelchairs. And, there's just like, the park is like this little microcosm of like a life in a city and like what a city needs to support this thing. And it has so many functions. There's like this particular park has 3 different playgrounds. It has 2 basketball courts. It has a unspecified area where people skate. What's that called? Skateboarding.
For our listeners who are not in New York City, where is this park?
Yeah, so it's in Manhattan, in the East Village between East 7th and East 10th Street on the east side.
Okay, Negin, so are you on a board for this park? Are you say you and a couple other people are what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, I mean, we formed something called the Friends of Tompkins Square Park, and and we sort of like do a lot of like volunteer work and raising money and stuff.
Okay, so maybe in the next act we can talk about improvement ideas, ways to get the park back up and humming like it was during the pandemic, way to get the party back to the park. Is that kind of what you're thinking about, or
I
mean, there's like 10 different things that
I want to hear about this because I definitely know you guys. Like we've talked about park beautification before, and
we did a challenge, kind of like bettering our neighborhoods and stuff like that. So let's take a break here. We'll come back in the second half. We're going to talk all about how to better parks, how to better Tompkins Square Park specifically, but the idea of it generally is as well. And I think we all know the best way to support any park is by joining the Grolic Saves the World Patreon. As you know, we give a significant portion of the money to ourselves, and we all frequent parks. And so it really does trickle down from us to the parks.
Negin, you don't know, I work for the Bureau of Land Management. Of course, I'm kind of with those deep 3%ers up in the Northwest. It's all about free grazing rights. Don't worry about it. I don't want you to stress about it, but I'm giving a lot of money to people who stormed the Capitol. But anyway, so no, I'm not. I'm not doing that. Producer Ron wants me to tip my hand that I'm not doing that. I think it's the tattoos, and so you're not sure if I'm serious. And so, but anyway, we do need to pay some bills. We gotta let's take a quick break. But Patreon, if you don't want to hear these ads, go ahead and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Grolic Saves. Of course, there's always our pod within a pod, Boy Crazy. We just had an episode with NFL quarterbacks. That one was fun, and we know nothing about that, so that's good.
Very controversial.
There's all kinds of extra bonus content, 4th act. So check that out. For those of you that support us, it means a lot. But let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll be back with more with our guest, Negin, and how to hopefully fix our park systems as regular citizens. So stay tuned.
Hey, do you love the Grolic Saves the World, but are sad because you're not getting enough of it?
Boy, do I.
Well, great news. You can get all sorts of bonus content on our Patreon.
Like what?
Tell them, Ben.
Act 4, ad-free episodes, birthday shoutouts, exclusive merch, stronger, more painful erections, our pod within a pod, Boy Crazy, decreased A1C levels, photos and videos, bonus content, and so much more.
Okay, I'll do it.
No, kick to me. Say, how do I do it? How do I sign up?
We're not trying to sell it to you, Andrew. You don't have to. Jesus.
Oh, well, I mean, it sounded good. Okay, how do I sign up then?
Fuck it.
You can sign up now by visiting patreon.com/Grolic Saves.
I do want to sign up.
We are back through the magic of podcasting. Time has elapsed. and we are going to dig into it with our guest, Negin Farsad. Now, Negin, you are part of the Friends of Tompkins Square Park, which is awesome because I really want to do this as well. Like, I love parks. I frequent them.
Do you really want to
Yes,
do this? It's so funny. I feel like oddly embarrassed talking about this. I don't know why, but okay. Do you really?
In my dark comedy moments,
because everyone else is like 75 years old. You know what I mean?
Listen, I birdwatch.
I think I'll speak for all of us. We genuinely love a good park. Absolutely.
In my
100%.
dark comedy moments where I'm like, I got to pivot. This is not happening. I'm like, maybe I could run Denver Parks and Recreation. That is a thought that I've had. And I've got ideas for parks. I have no experience. The books would be a fucking mess. But I would know I have ideas for parks. So I'm excited to dig into it.
And that's your slogan for running for the position. I have ideas for parks.
I have ideas for parks.
Wait, Negin, I'll tell you, he honestly, because Adam lives on this street that is just totally, it doesn't go anywhere. It's
a little hidden half block in the
It's
city.
a little half block. And he puts out this wooden plaque. Do you still do it weekly?
Yeah.
With different birds in the neighborhood. So it's a bird, and he hangs it up, and it's got facts about
Bird of
the
week.
bird.
It's the bird of the week.
It's the bird of the week.
Okay.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention my wife does the heavy lifting on this. But we do a different bird every week, all these facts about the birds. But at the end, we do like one joke fact. I always put a funny one in there. And so I write that one, and my wife does all the other shit. But people come by, they're like,
come up with most of the things on this podcast, Adam. I mean,
Katie's got her hands all over this thing. But so my question, so I'm into this subject, but my question is, do you have a budget? Are you looking, or is this just sort of a committee that's like, we want to help in some vague way, and what can we do?
Well, the funny thing is, like, okay, yeah, because I actually spearheaded the application of a grant last year, and we won that grant, and so we got like a small amount of money, and we started like on a basically parcel of the park that had just been turned into dirt. Like during the pandemic, people were like letting their dogs run all over it and people run all over it, whatever. So it was just like dirt and nothingness. And we spent that money to like buy stuff, plant stuff. And the funny thing about like not knowing anything is, I mean, there's a freedom to that because I'm just like, there's a woman, the incredible Kathleen Corrigan, and she's like our lead gardener. She knows she's a retired pediatrician, and she knows everything about plants. So this thing happened to me. I had a child 5 years ago, and we moved into an apartment that has a balcony. So all these changes happened around the same time. Moved into an apartment with a balcony. Again, like I live in Manhattan, so we do not just naturally have outdoor space in our homes. So to have a balcony is a very big deal, like for me personally.
Yeah, for sure.
And
that's like an acre of land in any other city.
Exactly. I mean, what I'm telling you guys is I'm a farmer in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Is really what I'm like. And I started thinking, oh my God, I love this balcony so much. And I was like, oh, it has to be green. It has to be the most flowery green, whatever thing you've ever seen. And so I started like really randomly buying plants and figuring it out and seeds and whatever. I'm completely self-taught. I don't know the name of anything I'm buying. I don't know what I should do. I'm riffing. You know, it's like me. I'm like a jazz farmer. And so
Jazz botanist.
Jazz botanist, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's a new category. But I was actually like decent at it. You know what I mean? I was figuring it out. I was doing some Googling. It was very exciting. And so I kind of I started using the playground and the park a lot when my child turned. Now, before I had a baby, I didn't know that there were any babies in New York City. I just never saw them. You know what I mean? And then I have one. And then I was like, guys, did you fucking know there's schools and playgrounds all over Manhattan? I had literally no idea. And then I suddenly see them everywhere. And I'm using them all the time. And I started to feel
I'm the
like
same way. It's wild to go from drinking at playgrounds in high school to like seeking them out as a 40-year-old. being like, oh, playgrounds have
Yeah.
a separate purpose for
You
children.
become a
Exactly.
connoisseur. You're like, oh, this playground is great. Like,
And
it
there's
has
hardly
everything
any
we like.
kids drinking at it. That's the first. My first. Adam,
I remember which ones they drink at, guys. Let's avoid those.
not Adam's
No, exactly.
drinking playground.
Yeah, so like I was just using the playground and the park that also used to just be a place that you would sort of show up at after a boozy brunch or whatever, and like have a little sit for like 25 minutes and look cute. Like it just took on a completely different meaning after I became a parent, and I also felt like I'm using this resource so much because, like I said, we don't have backyards in New York, so we have to like. So the playground, so the park is our backyard, and I felt like I should do something. So I sort of fell into this group of people. We were all very concerned about the park during the pandemic, and we formed a group, and then I thought, because of my public policy background, my real skill, like I don't know anything about plants or playgrounds, but I do know something about grant writing. So like I can do that. And that became, that's like something that I'm good at. And then otherwise, I just listened to this wonderful retired pediatrician tell me where to put piles of dirt. Like that's kind of my main thing.
So,
You know what I mean?
can I ask where did the rest of, are these people from your particular building? Are they people from a lot of building? Like, how did you get this group together? How did you do that?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. So I started emailing my city council person, one of their junior staffers, just to be like, hey, I want to do this thing. Like, what do you guys think? What's happening? Have you heard of anyone else? And we also have a thing in New York City called community boards. I don't know what the deal is in Denver, but we also have community boards that also serve this kind of function. And I reached out to my community board. We had been in touch with a lot of these people. We'd been in touch with our local precinct as well, because there was like a little mild drug dealing situation nearby. So
I was already in New York City.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, again, yeah, like it's funny because it is the safest big city in America, but there's still some cute drug dealers operating. I was already, again, because of my background, very comfortable with sort of like reaching out to public officials. And I got an email that was just like, oh, there's a couple of other people asking about forming a group for Tompkins Square Park, and why don't you guys all meet? And we all met at the park on a one random day. And that's how it happened. And then it quickly became
how
clear
old are
that
these
people
that you met, like when they
all
showed up.
walks of life.
So as you can tell from my glowing skin, I'm about 22 years old. And so I was by far the youngest. I wasn't. There's some people exactly like me, moms, dads, right? Like using the playground, using the park all the time. So there's a few people like that. The funny thing about us is that we have the least time of anyone. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, so the people that have the most time, and it is the case here with us, are people that are closer to or after or above retirement age. And so they do a lot of the heavy lifting. There's some really awesome people that do a lot of heavy lifting with the Friends of Tompkins Square Park people, like Kathleen. And she's so fine with it. She's like, very, I'll just be like, I got the kid today, I can't do it, but the kind of like the group shook out to be like a handful of us, a couple of me, another dad who has a kid, Kathleen, and two other women who are like slightly older white ladies. And the interesting thing, I think, is it's a really diverse neighborhood. So I'm sure listeners can tell from my voice that I'm an Iranian American Muslim, and and so I personally don't like, I'm always like trying, and I'm married to a black man. My baby's a Blaranian, and I'm looking for other like diverse people to join. It's hard because, and I don't know, like, so Adam, you have 2 kids, right? It's really hard to have time to do stuff that saves the world.
That's why I really applaud this. It's amazing that and also your career and everything going on. It's great that you are fitting this in. And it's great that in your search for diversity, you found the 3 White Dad podcast from Denver to really help you nail this.
Yeah, well, and like Adam's kids are younger. We're kind of Andrew's kiddo is in their teens right now.
14? Yeah.
Yeah. And then my son's
wow.
18.
Wow.
And I can say at all those different junctures, parks play a huge part of their life. It's like kids, it's like taking them there to run out all that energy. But I can tell you, as teenagers, my son and his friends go and hang out at the park all the time. My son
they were dealing drugs, but they shut it down.
And I wanted to talk to you about that. Adam, I know you feel like because you're just giving them wine coolers, and I don't even know where you find those anymore, that somehow it's safer.
They're cool. I'm cool. There's no problem with it. It's
not
all
well.
Cool.
I will talk afterwards. I do think it's problematic. You're giving him cash too. I don't understand you giving him.
Anyway, we don't have time. It's more about Tompkins Square Park, not the park that I'm hanging out at with your son. Negin, it sounds like your crew is more than capable. You've got this going on. I think the only thing that we can possibly add to this is maybe throwing out a few ideas for things that we might like to see, some park revitalization, things that we seek in a park, and maybe you can take them or leave them type of thing. So I've been thinking about this my whole life, and I think we should go around, Ben, Andrew, me, and just a few suggestions for ideas. So I actually, I'm prepared to start. Or Andrew, do you want to start?
I can start. This is for Tompkins Square Park specifically?
Yeah, I think it's for Tompkins Square Park.
Yes.
I know, Andrew, you lived in New York for a while, and you told me you were
and I
familiar with
dimly
this park.
remember Tompkins Square Park. I primarily used the park as a stumble zone to try to find my way back to the train to go home. Hammered after a night of drinking.
That's a very common use of this park, yes.
Yeah, the park is more like a pinball machine for me, and I would just kind of bounce, from tree to fence to bench, and there's the street I need and the train. But
Suggestion 1, soften the benches, especially the edges.
Suggestion 1, a drunk corral. It funnels all the drunks into a pleasantly Nerf-lined corral with some benches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that is a beautiful park. That is a great little park there. And I agree with you. Like, parks, more so than any other place I've lived, parks in New York City are definitely very precious because they are truly, you're in a lot of neighborhoods, that's the only green space you're going to be seeing like anytime soon is that park. So
what do you got for it, Andrew? What suggestions do you have for it?
Gosh, well, here's an idea. Forgive me if it already has this. It didn't have this when I was there before. Maybe a greenhouse so when it's wintry and freezing ass cold in New York City, you could still have some plants. People could walk through and see it. I don't know. That would probably require someone like being on site, and it's not actually feasible. But I know that New York City gets very, very cold in the winter, and it could be a way to everybody loves a greenhouse, right?
It's not feasible.
I don't know. I'm already second guessing.
It's not feasible. You're fired from my Denver Parks and Rec team. This is insane. What a horrible fucking suggestion.
It's an enclosure that I'm sure no one will use when it's cold out.
$12 million idea.
Yeah, we're all just nodding.
I regret.
Like, sure, good idea. And no one's got the balls to say, how unfeasible this fucking is, Andrew.
The greenhouse is a bad
Oh my
idea.
God.
It's a bad idea.
Ben,
Hey, you know what?
I haven't been to Tompkins Square in forever. I can't.
Adam, I'd like to go.
Yeah.
How about a biosphere?
exactly.
How about a
See?
very
Ben's-
classic mid-90s biosphere that a few
Ben
scientists
Gibson.
could
Yep.
live in and,
Yes,
and not emerge from
Right.
for
What
months?
if everyone who visits
Scientists.
gets a chunk of gold, a fist-sized chunk of gold for visiting Tompkins Square Park?
Adam, what a wonderful idea. How about a tobacco field, a public tobacco
That'd be
field,
great.
a place where people could grow and dry their own tobaccos.
Sure,
Yeah.
And make their
Okay. I know it was a bad
We're
idea.
going to circle back.
But
to
Ben,
you,
let's hear a
Andrew.
good idea.
We're going to circle
Let's hear a
back.
good idea,
And I want you
Ben.
to think about what you did, and we're going to circle back. Ben,
All right. Okay.
Also, can you stand in the corner of your room? Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. Welcome to the podcast. This is so great that you put him in the corner. This is so nice. We should have more of our guests.
we also like to make fun of him for being like 4 years older than us, so we pretend he's really old. It's kind of a fun riff, and you could do that.
4
as well.
years, my ass.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, Adam, like for instance, Andrew was there when the park was built. He was 23
So, what are some of your
years old.
earliest memories of the construction of Tompkins Square Park?
Well, it was originally
was
an
it-
Irish cemetery, but
Yes. Was it seeing the babe drive through in his Model T? Didn't you love touching the hem of his garment? Huh, Andrew? I'll go next. That was terrible. You're
shut
the
up,
worst at this.
shut up.
What I was thinking, and I haven't been to Tompkins in a while, and maybe you all have done this as well, but is there a possibility to do like some cute little like stumps to sit on, like, you know what I mean? A place where maybe somebody like could read or do like some sort of a reading or.
So you're thinking like little mounds, stools? What are we?
Yeah, little, like,
what do
log
we?
stumps
You want me
in
to
a-
cut
in a
a
circle.
tree?
You're
and
even
then it's a
stupider than
stump?
I am.
It
What are you talking about? There's
Now it's like a
benches in the
story
park.
time area for
Yeah,
kids,
but there is
you know,
literally
like a nice.
hundreds of benches. But okay, stumps specifically.
No, I mean like a story
your
time
issue.
area.
Your issue is you don't want people to have lumbar support. That's what you
Exactly.
want it to
But
be.
kids
Nobody
don't
wants to sit on a
need it.
stump. What are you talking about?
You don't want
That's a
a
horrible
back
seat.
to the thing.
Nah, little seats for kids to sit around and you do a nice little story time in the park. That's
Okay,
kind
so
of
story
nice.
time, a little story time in the park area does sound
Yes.
lovely. That does sound lovely, and
And,
a little more feasible.
Yes, yeah. And they could be made of stumps. That's all I'm saying.
Can I?
What is that?
Are you planting the stumps or are you cutting down
I
the
know,
trees?
but like, do I have
We
to
just
cut
have
a
log
tree so that
stools.
it becomes a stump?
Yes. Hey, why a little
Get
log
rid of
stumps?
the trees.
So they're
Nagin,
removable. So people can just
Nagin,
take
I am-
the stumps home
I am
anytime they
sorry.
want.
I am sorry for this, Nagin. This is getting out of control.
Okay.
And your
yeah.
idea was even
Clearly.
dumber than mine.
No, and then
Can
second
I-
idea,
Yeah,
how about
okay.
a sanctioned corner of the park for open air drug use? Now,
Oh, like
I think-
Amsterdam. Amsterdam on the wire.
Like no, I'm serious.
So
You
the
have
park has
little-
a cool area?
no, a little band shell kind of thing, a small little one,
A
you know,
small
like that
band
kind of a thing.
shell.
A little like place that you could do a nice, you know, because there's kids around there, and you know, I all right, Adam, let's hear your fucking
Yeah,
great
oh my
idea. I'm
God.
done.
I'm not poo-pooing
off
that
this
one. I'm
board.
not poo-pooing
So you
that
want
one.
stumps and more drug use is what I'm gathering.
That's the pitch. That's the pitch.
Yes, I'll
That's
come out and be a part of
Let
Friends
me,
of Tompkins
yeah, I'm gonna
Park.
take it to my. I'm gonna take it to my people.
Nagin, I can't help but notice you're not taking notes. Now, are you going to want us to email you these after
Yeah,
the show?
well,
Fire you a quick email.
Producer
Ron,
Ron can transcribe it all. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get them to you. I've got two ideas that I think are more feasible, but maybe I'll be torn apart, and that is the podcast. So I'm a big bird watcher. In New York City, all anyone talks about is Central Park. That's the big birding spot, and it's kind of, you know, it's the largest patch of green. But birds are attracted to any patch of green, especially when there's like nothing but city besides that. So with your plant kick, with your gardener friend, any just native species to New York, a native species to anywhere will attract birds like wild. So an effort to lead, but botanically speaking, with native species with birding in mind. And I also thought birding is sort of a affluent hobby. You need the binoculars. It's more waspy people that are birding.
Yes.
Trying to get it more to the people. Maybe you could reach out with like Audubon type organizations, free binocular rentals on certain days, have bird people come out and talk about it, encourage kids to like bird Tompkins Square Park. Make that a sort of thing. Because you only hear about Central Park.
Tom Bird's Square Park.
Tom Bird Day. There you go.
And
let
by
me tell you,
the end of the century, it'll be Tom Bird Square Park.
If you like pigeons, you're in luck, friend. Get ready.
I like
buckle
that
up.
because because honestly, one of the things that has to happen with these grant applications, and I'm in the middle of another one right now, is that you have to kind of show that there's a community engagement aspect to your grant. And so not on the birding front, but on we're trying to build these pollinator pockets. So many words, and they are we're trying to increase the whatever plant species so that there's more bees and fucking bugs and different types of bugs.
And all those bugs bring the birds back. It's all it's the
exactly.
ecosystem.
It's all connected. So like I think there's like and interestingly we do kind of track the types of bugs that come in, and when we see a new one we get excited and we write it down and whatever. So that is a version of like what you're talking about, but I like the idea of getting birders excited and also getting like younger birders excited, like developing birders of other communities that have not birded before. Yes, I do like that idea.
Well, also
younger birders being 65-year-olds.
Right, but there was that highly publicized. Wasn't in New York City in Central Park where there was that highly publicized black birder who was kind of like
I remember that.
By the police.
Who was
now
around,
that dude's got his own birding show. He's sort of a champion of bringing birding to like more groups than just white old people.
Adam, could I piggyback on top of that? Because we did this in Colorado and we've seen a lot of success. Wolves, live wolves. Now we've reintroduced gray wolves back into the Colorado high country. What happens if we did release a few wolves into Tompkins Square Park?
Just a couple.
Yeah, just to see how it goes. Relax. They're radio tagged.
No, I love Adam. I rarely say this on this podcast. Kudos. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Can I say, first of all, okay, but I love this because we're focusing on the fun. And that's one of the things that, like me as the comedian jazz botanist, I would like to do with parks more is that it's like that to make the volunteering fun. Like, so whenever people come, it's like we try and like chat, gossip. Like I want the new volunteers to feel like they're coming into something that is not about just like slogging through a bunch of like dirt and mulch. It's really about like building new friendships. Oh, you're new to town. Oh my God, who are you? What do you do? Why? What do you all that? And to make it like a social activity, because I do think like if this model were replicated everywhere, that volunteering at your local park was super fun and like, gossipy and there's a chat involved, all of that, like that to me, I think is what's going to get people more and more involved and get people away from their phones and get, what I mean?
Absolutely.
Then we really save the world.
You meet somebody and you say, have a seat on this stump. Let's get to know each other.
Have you these stumps? It's not happening, Ben.
No,
it's not. I don't know who's like
grab
stump
your
warehouse
needles and have a seat on this stump.
Yeah.
No, so
insane.
Real,
I have a question. I do have a question real quick if I can ask. Have you had any conflicts between like the city and users of the park? Because that happens here. Just recently it happened where I don't know how pickleball is faring in New York City, but it is an outbreak here in Denver of pickleball enthusiasts.
It's the Asian carp of sports, and it's got into the waterways.
It's an invasive species.
So the lantern bug of sports. Yeah,
and people. The people here, they started shoveling the pickleball courts, which apparently ruins the court.
What?
Who knew this? Not me, but it
shoveling?
does.
For snow, yeah.
You can't shovel a tennis court. They're very, very delicate. And I was just curious if you'd had any issues as you're trying to improve the park where people have resisted this, or you've had to kind of work?
Well, like two interesting little tales. One is that the park is severely understaffed because of, budget cuts and whatever. And so we try and be really friendly with the people that do work at the park and sort of be like, we just want to piggyback with what you guys are naturally doing and support and help and bolster, and so by and large, the people who work there are really into it. Also, the city really encourages groups like ours to form, to fundraise, and because the city's like having a hard time with it budgetarily, like doing what they should be doing with parks. So we've actually like had a really great relationship both with the people who work at the parks, with all the public representatives. Like there'll be people from the assembly person's office come and volunteer with us, so that's been really awesome. I would say, if anything, our relationship has been delightful. And then I will also say, so I went to like a convening of this particular grant thing recently, and I won't name names, but they're basically got a bunch of us
Beyonce,
together.
Jay-Z. Yes, we know New York. We know New York.
So I was with a bunch of A-list celebrities at a grant convening, and so we and they basically rounded up a bunch of people from different organizations that are in the same area to see if there were like ways that we could support each other or what we're all doing, and one of the funny, hilarious thing that's happening right now is that there's a migrant crisis. And so, and again, I'm the children of immigrants, and I have, I'm a product of immigration. I have refugees in my family. I am 100% support. But there's a reticketing center for these migrants right by the park, which means that like maybe upwards of 500 people or something will be standing in line outside, and it adds a lot of like foot traffic. I mean, I don't know what the number is. It could be like 1,000 people are standing there a day trying to get a ticket for housing and stuff like that. So they don't live there, but they'd have to stand in line at this one place across the street from the park to get a ticket. So it is literally a really huge number of people that are now coming through the park. And at this convening, everyone was talking about this issue, and I had to leave early. And as I left early, I said, hey guys, so just, I'm with friends at Tompkins Square Park, and, we're really concerned about the increased volume and how it might affect the park. And we're thinking of what we can do to help. If anyone's interested in that, like, let me know. I'm all ears. And this one woman said, like a much older white lady, where are you from? And I said, wait a second, where are you from? And I said, friends of Tompkins Square Park. And she said, well, I think it's going to be really hard for you to make the case that plant life is more important than a human life. Which
Yikes.
I started, So that's when I'm sure you guys can already tell I'm very I'm on the left here over here, but this is like the left eating the left. Why would a person say that? And of course I started crying inside because I was like, what did I say that made it sound like I would ever
You didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything, but everyone's so sensitive and just like, you can't, oh my God. And anyways, and I was like, no, no, of course not. I'm a children of immigrant. I said the whole spiel. And actually, the facilitators of the meeting apologized to me after. They thought I was not treated well by this person, but that's another interesting thing in terms of there being conflict. I think there's sometimes conflict with stuff like that where you're I believe I want to support these, I want to support these migrants. Also, I want to support the park, and those two things are not opposed,
Right.
and I believe that they're not opposed. They can be very harmonious. And in fact, there have been people, migrants who actually have then come after they get their ticket and help us clean the park. So it's really, it can be a really lovely thing. We can all help each other.
Well, it's also an area where these people are naturally gathering. So people in Denver, there's been a huge Venezuelan influx of immigrants because Governor Abbott in Texas is just the best fucking dude. And Denver's just been overwhelmed.
He's been sending them. Yep.
Yeah, and Denver's been overwhelmed with Venezuelan immigrants as well. And people are, the nice people are reaching out and trying to help them in every which way. But here, you they're there, so groups could meet up in Tompkins Square Park with winter coats and resources and all of that. It doesn't, and then you can still talk about plants, lady. It's all fucking good.
Exactly. Like it does exactly. And people from our group have gone and done distribution of coats and food and all that stuff on the, it's wherever. It's the same group of like 100 people that do stuff. You know what I mean? So we're all sort of cycling in between wherever the need is.
Yeah.
Yep.
This idea too that I mean, I love that you're saying that, like, sometimes some of these people who are waiting for these tickets will come in and help and want to be a part of it. I think that's a beautiful thing, embracing and saying, like, welcome, please be part of caring for this park and be a part of what happens in here, because we want you to be here. You know, I mean, I think my impression is all you're doing is trying to get people to look at the park as something that should be preserved and cared for, and that it's an important part of the ecosystem around there, So, and I think that that's something that somebody who's newly moved to the country or to the city or that neighborhood can appreciate for sure. Can I ask?
Parks are community assets that generally they're open for everyone. There's no like price for admission. It's that they're truly a space where anyone in the community can like go and congregate. And
and it being a place of education and of understanding like local birds, local plant life, things like that. That's fantastic. Can I ask you, is there any advice for listeners of this podcast and people out there that you would give who may want to adopt their own parks or land around them? What would you say?
Well, I mean, it's funny because I run our Instagram feed, such as it is. Friends of Tompkins Square Park, by the way, for all of the listeners, please follow.
Yes, give a follow.
Fun plants.
It's like it's so sexy. It's just all like women in bikinis. You're like, what are you doing, Negin? I'm trying to get clicks.
Yeah. Closed caption reels of comedy and whatnot.
It's all crowd work. It's all crowd work clips.
Yeah. Lots of butt crack in the feed. It's funny because I just, it's like someone just needed to do it. And like, I was like, a little bit more as a comedian, a little bit more, familiar with how Instagram works. So I took it on and I got the interesting feedback that vibe of the feed is fun. And then a lot of volunteer groups that have feeds like are more like, you better show up, do your duty or whatever, like, you know what I mean? And this is like not that tone. And so I think that if you want to go and start and to kind of get people excited about volunteering and working with you and stuff like that, like I would focus on keeping things fun and in no way lecturing, because nobody enjoys that. And now that I've seen more of these, like, not, more of these volunteer group feeds, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see how sometimes the tone is not inviting. That's my one piece of advice. And then my other piece of advice is about like dogs, which is like, way more people have dogs now than they did before the pandemic, and they love their dogs. I have a dog, and I think viewing green spaces is a place where people can come with their dogs responsibly and lean into that. Like, don't view a piece of an area where you're growing shrubs or whatever as a place that a dog can absolutely not come. So in that spirit, we started kind of designating dog little trails, that you bring your dog and walk through these trails. So we sort of designate it so that people with dogs can feel like they can walk through and do whatever. Because I feel like that's a thing in some parks where they're like, don't let the dogs ruin the park, And so I say, like, embrace the dogs and figure out how to do that, while keeping all the plants alive.
Make volunteering fun. Embrace the dogs. Those are two very good tips. I love that.
Can I add one too? Stumps.
Go ahead, Ben.
For number one, stumps.
It's not happening.
Hear me out. Okay,
Stop.
fine. You guys are out on the stumps.
Did you buy like a gross of
Just
50 stumps?
Yes,
Why are you trying to get rid of stumps?
I bought some lumber. Okay, so here's another one that I have. Just throwing it out there. the kids these days to get them involved. They're always beefing. Why don't you guys beef with another park near you? Like
Washington Square, you've had it coming for a long time.
Now I'm
Hamilton
gonna lie.
Fish Park, you're getting a little too big for your britches. And there's some real beef that starts on the Instagram feed. Park rivalry. I love it.
I kind of love that idea. Like parks roasting each other.
It's kind of great. It's kind of a great idea.
Ben, you know what? You had some real garbage ideas to start us out. But I feel like you really brought us, and Andrew's just been in the corner of the room this whole time, so I don't even know what his whole, but like you've really, your arc as a person
most
has
improved
really,
podcaster in this episode, the MIP. And I want to say, I think you could do it. You could be like, oh, what up, Union Square? That's the kind of garbage they do over there, but Tompkins Square Park, they get wild, you know? You guys
Yes, I love that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Negin, thank you so much for being on The Grolic Saves the World. How can our listeners support your efforts? I guess follow your Instagram feed. And
so follow me on Instagram. First of all, Negin Farsad, a name that everyone can spell and pronounce. And also go to Friends of Tompkins Square Park to follow us on that. But listen to me on Fake the Nation. We're on every week. We have wonderful comedians on, like the three of these gentlemen, who I believe will be coming on at some point. No one knows how this happened and how that will happen. But it might happen. But we have on a lot of really fantastic comedians, like Samantha B and I don't know, John Lovett, and just a really great cast of characters come through.
To
we
all
talk
of
about
our
news
listeners,
and
all of those links will be down in the show notes as well, so that if you're looking for any of those, you can just go ahead right down in the show notes, give a click, give a follow. Negin, you're amazing. You are you do everything, and you're super awesome. And
thank you.
This means
you guys are so amazing. Thanks so much for having me. This has been so fun.
Next time we're in New York, we'll all have a cup of coffee in Tompkins Square Park. It'll be great.
Yes.
Ben, you're gonna have to bring your own stump. I'm sorry.
I travel.
BYOS. Bring your own stump.
I travel with a collapsible stump that fits in carry-on. And it is. Now, thank you so much. This was an amazing episode. For people that are listening to this, if you have suggestions, if you have thoughts, if you've tried this, if you've done this, please reach out to us. If you're on Patreon, you can do it through that. Otherwise, you can reach us at socials, because we would love to hear what you've been doing. Negin, you're amazing. If you don't mind, can we play a clip of your stand-up? We always play some stand-up comedy.
Oh yeah, please go for it.
So let's do that. Why don't we listen to some live stand-up comedy from our good friend here, Negin Farsad, and then when we return, third actors, the best third act in the biz. You're on deck. You missed the rest of the episode. Your time is up. We're got more show to come, so please stay tuned.
Are there New Yorkers in the audience? Yeah. Okay. So this has probably happened to you. You are out of town. You meet a new person and they go, "Where do you live?" And you go, "I live in New York City." And they go, "Oh my God, I could never live there. What a nightmare your life must be. Do you sleep in feces?" Oh, and then as if without a pause, they just launch right into, "But also, do you have any brunch recs for Soho? Because me and my gal pals are planning a trip," As if it's normal to just shit on someone's hometown and then immediately ask for stuff. It's so weird that people find that normal. And the opposite is never true. You know what I mean? Because I never go to Maplewood, New Jersey and be like, "Oh my God, is this where dreams go to die? How do you survive in this vortex of sadness?" It makes me even feel bad to say that about Maplewood, New Jersey. I'm sorry, Maplewood, New Jersey, you're beautiful.
And we are back. Welcome to Act 3. Saddle up, third actors. Let's ride. Let's do it. Ben,
third actors,
round up. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're riding,
Third actors.
we're riding into the
regulated.
credits together. Ben, what time is it?
Oh, I think it's time for some good fucking news, maybe? Finally,
Oh.
some good fucking news.
You're
It's so
weird.
funny.
Yeah,
Who's got
it's
to watch
time.
News.
It's so funny to watch him turn into his mom over. Like he just goes into a fugue state, and he turns into his mom real quick.
Finally, some good fucking news. All right. Yeah.
Who's got some? Adam,
gonna
you
take
said
it.
that
I'm
maybe
gonna
you
take
have
it.
some.
I have some good news. This is going to be a little bit of old news to listeners who are on the pulse of it all. But as a Colorado Rockies fan, there's not a lot to cheer for anymore. The organization is driving straight off a cliff, and it's just sad to fucking watch. However, first baseman Todd Helton was recently elected to the Hall of Fame. That is only the second Colorado Rocky to ever make the Hall of Fame. And it made me feel happy and proud of the Rockies in a way I haven't felt in a long fucking time, because Todd Helton was a joy to watch. I never saw anybody fight in an at-bat as hard as Todd Helton did. Dude would foul off like 9 pitches and then just loop a double on the 10th. He was a great player for the Rockies, and he's now in the Hall of Fame. And as a longtime Rockies supporter who currently is hating the organization because they're inept, it's nice to celebrate Todd Helton's accomplishments. So
Correct.
finally,
Yeah,
Congrats.
for sure.
good fucking news.
God.
Congratulations to the Todd father, as he is known in Colorado. And I agree, Adam. I felt a sense of pride. I, with you, do not talk about the Rockies. I do not support this fucking team. But it was very cool to see Todd get his, because I think because of their ineptitude, he never got the World Series win that he deserved. You know, like I think
Yep.
he should have had more opportunities. He's a once-in-a-lifetime player. So I think that was very cool, Adam.
So
I
yeah,
agree.
second Rocky in the Hall of Fame, Larry Walker and Todd Helton. And,
That's really cool.
yeah.
Andrew, I should ask you now, are you ready to do your part? Because I want to hear it. I want to hear if you can do it. I want to hear you sing it today, and I want to hear you belt it.
You got it, Benny boy. Pucks. I turn into my mom too when I do my segment.
Cool.
Mhm. She's a world-renowned beatboxer. I'm actually headlining a show for the Phoenix organization, which is a very cool, sober, outdoor and athletic activity organization. That's going to be at the Town Hall Collaborative, and the price of admission is simply 48 hours of sobriety. So I've heard nothing but good things about the show. I know Ben did it. So
I
it should
recently
be
did
great.
this show, and the Phoenix, as many people know, I do not drink. I've not drank for almost 14 years now. They are a wonderful organization. Definitely go support this show, and the show rules. It's a great experience. So definitely check that out. Adam,
February
what's
25th, link in the
Adam.
show notes. Adam?
I have been kicking off the dust of my one-man show, Happy Place. I'm making a big push with it this year. I've got a show in April at Largo that I'm trying to get ready for. So I'm running it a bunch around town. And the next one
Hell
will be
yeah.
at Chaos Bloom Theater on March 14th, which is just a tiny little black box. So get those tickets before they're all gone. I've made a lot of changes to the show, and I'm really proud of where it's at. So if you've ever wanted to see my one-man show, Happy Place, here's another opportunity for you.
Am I in the show now? Is that one of the changes?
Nope, still just me, but we
Okay.
are
Just
considering
checking.
it.
I thought maybe you were. Remember, I was like,
considering
you could add
it.
me like a Flava Flav to be like a hype man and kind of emphasize.
Yeah, maybe just
Ooh,
have
that
you on
does
stage,
points. Yeah.
clock around your neck. Could be a
Yeah,
good thing.
whatever you need. Okay, well, just
Regardless,
keep it in mind.
I will be performing with you at our Grolix live show on February 24th.
There we go.
Featuring
the last
Ed
Saturday
Bell.
of the month.
Ed Bell and a headliner, Amy Silverberg. The last one sold out like gangbusters the day before, so get on those tickets before they are all gone. We love seeing you guys at the live Grolix.
Can we just say this too real quick? What a killer last Grolix live show. That was an amazing,
it was a very good one.
And our good friend Zach Reiner closed it out in epic fashion. It was so good. So if you have not been to the Grolix live show recently, you've got to come down. They've been off the hook.
They've all been great. They've all been great. Huge thanks to our producer, Ron Doyle. Also, Mike Henderson for all of your help recording our killer live show. Our theme music, as always, is by Charlie Continental. You can follow us on social media all over the place at Grawlix Comedy. And if you'd like to kick us a little bit of extra support and get some ad-free episodes in the process, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/GrawlixSaves. There's a whole treasure trove for you to get into there. And in the meantime, I guess we'll see you next Tuesday.
Oh,
Ben,
no.
take a
There's
seat
no
on your
gas.
stump. Take a
No,
seat on your stump and really deliver this one. Sit down on your stump and
Like
belt
I
it.
belt it out. Like I just
Yeah.
sit there and it's morning and I've got my coffee and there's birds that are
You're in
local.
Tompkins Square Park. You're on a stump.
And I'm
Holding
feeling
court.
it. And I tell everybody, play us out, Charlie.
Like, shut up. I'm trying to fucking sleep up here.